into Movement Parallels Life. Today's movement practice is all about the deep squat. The squat is a foundational movement pattern that shows up all over the place in our everyday lives. By practicing the squat, we unlock its functionality and usefulness in our daily routines. And from a fitness perspective, working on our squat consistently translates to improvements in mobility, stability, and strength. So in today's practice, we're going to explore a variety of different patterns, all of which are going to feed right back into developing your deep squat. In this 20-minute session, I encourage you to let go of the idea of the perfect squat. Instead, focus on the different angles, variations, and expressions of the squat. Stay mindful, work with your body, avoid moving into any painful ranges of motion, and take breaks as needed. So getting caught up with the video, we've started off in a side bend sit position, moved on to some hip rotations, and then once again settling into the side bend sit position, getting rooted into the ground, maintaining an elongated spine, and beginning to find a stretch by hinging forward from the hips. Perform about 5 repetitions of this forward hinge. As you hinge forward, maintain your stability by keeping your core braced, your front leg pressing strongly into the ground, and using your hands for light support. Next, transition to a bent sit position with your hands gently gripping your knees. Move through your shoulders and upper spine as you round and extend for 5 cycles. Next, allow your spine to round as you rock back. Use your momentum to rock up, elongate your spine, and reach forward, feeling the stretch through your hips. Perform 5 reps. Next, return to a strong, well-organized side bend sit position. Maintain your braced core and long spine as you hinge forward 5 or 6 times. As you hinge forward, actively press into the ground with your front leg, feeling the stretch through your front hip. Now rise up from your hinge stretch. Keep your feet in contact with the ground and rotate your hips, taking your knees from side to side 7 times. Keep your hands posted behind your hips or keep them off the ground. Whichever you choose, make sure that you elongate your spine as you complete each rotation. Now settle back into your side bend sit position, but on the opposite side. Perform 5 forward hinges. Now return to your bent sit position, lightly gripping the fronts of your knees. Rotate your shoulders and look behind you, alternating sides 3 or 4 times. Then perform 5 cycles of flexion and extension, rounding your upper back and shoulders, alternated with pressing your sternum forward, opening your chest. Round your spine as you rock back, rock up, and reach forward for 5 reps. As you rock up, keep your spine long, your core strong, and pull yourself forward from the creases of your hips. Continue your rock ups, but switch to 5 reps on an overhead reach. As you rock up, maintain your stability through the compression of the creases of your hips. Elongate upward through the crown of your head. Reach your fingertips to the sky as your arms pull back to frame your ears. Finish your last overhead reach, and next we'll transition to a knee-hand position. Get rooted in this position with your palms glued to the ground, your arms locked out, in length from the crown of your head to your tailbone. Place one hand behind your head and rotate open, looking to the sky. Open into your end range of motion and then close by bringing your elbow to your opposite knee. Perform 4 to 5 of these rotations. Reset your position and switch sides. Perform another 4 to 5 reps of this rotational movement. As you open, keep your support arm locked out and actively pressing into the ground. Use the strength of your back to drive the extension of your thoracic spine. Now plant both hands and reset your position. Keep your core braced and your spine long and begin rocking forward and backwards 7 or 8 times. Center yourself, place one hand behind your head, and perform 5 more thoracic rotations. Now switch sides and perform another 5 reps. Now sit your hips back, transitioning into a kneeling position. Alternate between flexed foot kneeling and flat-footed kneeling, feeling the stretch in your feet and your ankles. Perform each about 2 to 3 times. Gently rock, bounce, or lean back, any movements that feel good in your body. Now step one leg forward into a half kneeling position. Make any necessary adjustments to the position to make it work for you. Spend a few seconds rocking back and forth to mobilize the foot and ankle, and then switch sides. Hit each side 2 to 3 times. Keep your spine long and stay actively pulling through the crease of your hip. Use mindful effort rather than excessive force. Keep your breathing deep and relaxed, explore the different angles, and use your hands to support your mobilizations. Take just a few more seconds to finish up your half kneeling rocking. Bring your knees close together and splay your feet apart. Begin shifting your weight from side to side. Working within your range of motion, perform about 8 shifts just to get a sense of how your knees respond to these lateral forces. Now we'll expand on these side-to-side shifts by adding a hip rotation. Shift your weight and open your opposite hip, rolling over the inner edge of your big toe. Alternate from side to side for 8 total reps. Return to a comfortable kneeling position and we'll repeat that sequence of movements. With feet flat or flexed, lean back and forth several times. Transition to a tight half kneeling position, alternating sides for 6 reps. Come back to kneeling and transition to alternating hip rotations for 8 reps. Transition into a sitting position with legs extended or legs bent. Take a few moments to breathe, elongate your spine, and stretch. Round your spine, rock back and rock up, extending into an overhead reach for 5 reps. Last rep. Now transition to a foot hand crawl position. Sit your hips back and then spring forward, lunging a foot next to your hands. Pause for a moment in this crawl lunge, perhaps allowing your hip to open, rolling to the outer edge of your foot. Step back and switch. Alternate sides for 6 total reps. You can perform these lunges with your back knee touching the ground or elevated. Use your hands as needed to provide additional support. Take time for one more crawl lunge. Plant your hands, step back, and transition into a deep squat. Spend some time settling in, adding any movements or stretches that feel best for your body. Shift your weight forward and back, elevate your hips, or rotate from side to side. We'll spend about a minute working in the deep squat, flowing through this sequence. Elevate your hips in a forward fold stretch. Pull down through the creases of your hips, coming back to your deep squat. Plant your hands forward, transition to kneeling. Post your hands back behind you, forward, back to squat. Pry your hips apart with your elbows, maintain a long spine and deep breathing. Plant your hands, elevate your hips, forward fold. Lower your hips and return to knee hand or kneeling. Follow the stretches that feel best for your body. Let's meet back in a deep squat position. Elbows inside the knees, prying the hips open, maintaining a long spine or folding forward. Transition to your knee-hand position, and we'll go back to our thoracic spine rotations, 5 reps each side. Switch sides. Transition back to your alternating crawl lunges with external hip rotation. 6 reps total, 3 per side. Come back to your foot-hand crawl position. Hop forward into your deep squat. Perform this transition 5 times. Now pause in your deep squat. Plant your hands on the ground for stability as you lay your knees to the side and transition into a side bend sit position. Use your hands and pressing into the edges of your feet, transition from your side bend sit position back to your deep squat. Be mindful as you perform this transition, giving your body as much support as it needs. Perform 4 to 6 reps. Make your way back to a comfortable kneeling position and perform 4 alternating half kneeling step outs. Keep your back toes tucked so you can lift your back knee coming into a